Welcome to 28-day consciousness shift with me, channeling Jesus. So, the first thing, I have called in Jesus already. So, the first thing that's just alive in me is that we have come from so much past. We've come from so many lower realms of consciousness, all of us. And we have tried to do our best to adjust. And we're always seeking to do our best with the information that we have. And that is why, and the reason why we're bringing through this information. Because this information is a step further in your evolution currently. Just the same as if you would look back to a younger version of you and you see some of the things that you've done, you can go back and see that. And you can even inform that younger part if you've done some form of inner child work. You can go back in the past and you can alter that memory, which is all what it is, because it's past, so it's no longer. It's not like it's reality, what happened, what we remember. That's what many people in the dualistic perspective think. I used to think like that. That, oh, it's past. It's that is what reality is. I don't know about this other energy stuff, you know? That was the mentality that I was in the past. So I've come far. I'm very proud of myself. It's important that we acknowledge our journey as well. But the reason for this program is so that, similarly to you now, think about you now as us, Jesus, higher consciousness, coming back in time to you to inject awareness and life and other perspectives so that you are on the right path and journey. That is what these are. They're very timeless. They have come through history in certain times, these seeds of knowledge, and they are important in order to assist you to comprehend more about reality and how it actually operates. When you do, you can have a totally different experience, because when you are transcending these limited states, you are actually heading into territories with your body that is unknown to you. And we don't want to frighten you with that. It is unknown in the sense of it is so pleasurable that it's pleasure that you haven't experienced before, and joy and excitement through the body that you haven't experienced before. Because you can't experience it when you're operating the body just from the mind. And that's what most beings have done in one way or another. I've been confused with this indoctrination system, because it has been an indoctrination into a certain way of thinking. And so we are introducing some correction in the ways of thinking, so that, and just by doing that, you are correcting the energy and the way that it flows internally with you. And that has an effect on the outside. And so, literally, these changes in perception assist your body and you to help the planet and your reality and everyone around you shift by seeing a different reality. Because what is reality? It is not something solid. We didn't come onto this plane and the plane was already here. That's not how reality functions. Reality gets created from within us out. That's the really big change in perception that many beings might take a while to ingrain in the body, because the body has believed that for so many centuries, and so it still sort of operates like that in many ways. But that is old-fashioned thinking. It is the same as a caveman using sticks and leaf to create fire and to spin it, you know, like these old ways of creating friction and fire, which many of you would have great benefit of learning more the natural ways, which is another topic. But now you have more sophisticated devices. You even have electricity that can spark fire. So there's so many different advancements that is assisting and making life easier in some ways, and it has its challenges. And this whole technology, we are basically seeing the entire humanity depicted on the world. When you look at the mainstream, that is the totality of the consciousness of the human population outpicted. Pretty much. Especially in social media. There is a lot of, in the old media, there was a lot of manipulation. There is always manipulation when it comes to presentation of information. And manipulation can be good, or it can be more a manipulation in form of just selectivity. And then it depends on, is this truth energetically or not? That's what's important. It needs to be truth energetically. And what's the purpose behind the creation? If the purpose behind the creation is to manipulate, to sell this thing that they don't even believe in themselves, but they bought from some other, and some company created because they had an idea and just to sell it, to earn money. And they don't really care about the content, let's say. Some beings have that mentality. And that gets reflected onto the product. The good news about that is that when you are connected to your body and you know about energy, you can read this very easily, and you will start to have trust in your body of what it reads, what companies it wants food from. There's a lot of things like this that your body is an expert at, to basically help you make the right decisions. But for that, you have to look at the body as a useful tool. Many don't. Many see the body as a thing to be conquered. It's not something to be conquered. Not the body. Your habitual patterns, yes, but not the body. So don't let the body suffer because you think it's the body that is the problem that you have to conquer. No, separate them. You know? There is a difference between the patterns, they're just energy that you have agreed to in way of operating. And that's what you got going on. You can change those things, those projections. And when you do that, things in the body changes. Because it's a feedback system. These bodies are very sophisticated feedback systems. And they operate, whatever you focus on grows That's one. And then you are reading the environment all the time. But that is ideally. Many beings have been operating these bodies by remote control, is what we're saying. And what we mean by that is that they've just sent thoughts to the body. But then the body also have other thoughts around, like conditioning and how people are treating each other, what the media is saying, you know? And it has just multiple options. It doesn't know. It's a bit frightened. That's really what the body is kind of have been through this whole duality game. Just like a little bit, what am I supposed to listen to here? And it feels all over the show, right? And it's been hard for us to comprehend the body in that state. But it is just that. It's just that when you're not fully embodied and taking your body into consideration, which is the feminine, which is you taking Gaia into consideration, because everything that has to do with the body has to do with Gaia. Because Gaia is the one informing the body with people, with places, with opportunities. She's the one making amazing opportunities happen for us. So of course it makes sense to connect with her in the most best way that we can. And that's what many beings haven't seen, this connection between all of the different energies. And that's basically the secret that everyone is trying to figure out. But it's, of course, an internal job. You have to comprehend what we're saying. But in this case, you can also feel what we're saying, because there is a comprehension here. Because he is embodying his soul and letting us speak. Right? We are so grand. Having a higher consciousness speak, that is a multifaceted options of what can be experienced. There's so much potential for growth, expansion, and new technology that includes this energy in a more deeper fashion, that there are already technologies and slowly being released. There are many technologies in the healing of the human body that is being released as we speak. It's not being publicly talked about that much. But there are advancements, and there will be many more, the more people align to the correct frequency. And that is very simple. You are either choosing the duality or you're choosing the non-duality. That's your two only options. And it's very simple. That is the devil and the angel on your shoulder. It's basically a decision that takes you either into the dualistic perspective or up into the non-dualistic perspective, or the direction of. Because sometimes it can be degrees in one way or the other. That doesn't seem that bad. Oh, it's just this one time. That type of thing, right? That is a familiar voice. That is the ego. That is something to be comprehended and utilized and being a master of, not letting it master you. It's not about getting rid of the ego. It's about mastering your energy. And now we have a black helicopter coming. Or a police helicopter. Let's see if you can see it behind me here. Yes, you could. There's a lot of activity today. And today is also a new cycle. Meaning, this is something that we're going to touch upon a little bit. We will go into details about this later, but we will touch upon this a little bit. Time is very different from what you have been taught. There's been a lot of manipulation with time. That's why, like, February has a whole different number of days than all the other. It doesn't make sense. It's because time is not depicted exactly how it is. There is a natural cycle of time that some beings have found out. It's a lot of action here today. Now we have a jet ski and a lot of waves. I got a bit distracted. I distracted myself here. Just give me a moment to get back into it. Yes. You only have two choices. It's either going this way or it's going that way. And humanity as a collective, we're always going the right direction, but it might not always seem like that. Because for something to move, it needs to be seen and acknowledged first. So whatever you're seeing on the global stage, accept your part in it. And choose to empower something else. Choose to invest your time and your energy into something else that you want to see grow. That is what you can do. That is what everyone can do. And that is also investment in the form of financial. That is literally how you as a consumer dictate what energies you want to see rise in the coming years. So you have so much power of effect with how you use your energy. Your energy is everything. It makes everything grow. It is very valuable. There is a reason why marketers spend God knows how many millions and gajillions to market their products. It is because if they can get their product in front of more people, it is like the 100th monkey principle, if you've heard about that, where I don't know exactly how this came about. I don't know the story exactly, but I will explain to you the way that I remember it. There's 100 monkeys on an island. It was someone that fed some monkeys banana. They didn't know how to open it, and then was it a banana? I thought monkeys knew how to open bananas, but let's say it was bananas, and then no one could do it. But then they taught this group of monkeys how to do it on one part of the island. They don't have any contact with the other monkeys on the other part of the island. And then what they realized when they came to the other monkeys, they knew it. They knew it already. So they knew that there must be some kind of force that once there's a particular critical mass, then the rest of the human population just, it gets into the human collective. But time. So time is very linked to the energy of Gaia. We have to go back to the basics. So we have day, right? Sun, you know, the earth spinning and all of those cycles. We have the moon spinning around the sun, has a particular cycle. And then we have that solar system, or this solar system, and that planet, and all of that stuff, right? Planetary influence. And that influence on our human body is much grander than you might think. It is literally what's moving your energy. And so each day, I'm just going to touch upon two things. Each day is a chakra. You're going through the chakras. That's why 7 days. So you're going through all of the chakras. And then you go up again, Monday to Friday. Now, Monday to Monday, right? And then that's a loop. And that goes through all the chakras. That means that whatever chakra here gets influenced. That means you can get tested. How well are you speaking for yourself? How well are you expressing your power? How well are you seeing through your third eye? How well are you receiving from the divine? All of those things you can measure, and they get tested. Every 13, which I believe has, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that has to do with, because all of our energy system, including our higher chakras and lower chakras, are 13. And so there is another cycle there that loops around. And that is a different scale, literally like a piano. And that is a different scale. And these are things that we loop through all the time. But these 13, they're very special, because that's something that I've found to be very significant. And those 13, they are where a new cycle begins. And that's very tangible. You can really feel the energy on the environment just really shift, because you're either going up a scale or you're falling back down again. So this is why learning these cycles of Gaia and how to work with them is so key. And that is something we will cover later. So today is a new cycle. And so we are in a completely new cycle. I got tested yesterday, and I know how those feel like. They are just like being tested. Are you sure you've let go of this habit or this pattern? Are you sure you're ready to step into the next scale of what you want to express as a human? And so when we do that, then it is like a game. This is the thing, like when you know and when you see how this operates, it's like a game, because I've gone up to these ceilings and I've fallen back down again. And I know how that feels like. That feels like this Super Mario going like do, 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 those types of sounds. It feels like that in the body. There is a reason why computer games were made in the first place. It is because of this human energy. It's mimicking that. Everything is a mirror, you see? And so when you know how to ride Gaia's waves like this, and the main thing people get stuck on is that 13. That's a very pivotal thing for people to know about. Because there is a little test that these energies do. This is when, oh yeah, I met my ex and I got back to her type of thing. That's when those things happen, because you have to basically convince the universe. Yeah, so will you just all talk, or are you gonna show it in action too, what you actually want here? You see? It's not a sign. Oh yeah, it was a sign that we were meant to be together again. No! That's screwy. That's not accurate. That's what many people think. It's a sign, it was meant to be. No. You have to get how these work, how these cycles work, and what actually is the game. The game is to release old habits, to gain new, healthier habits, to instill healthier habits that embody more light, so that you get to operate your body in the most powerful, optimum state that you can through these bodies. It is such a privilege to learn this information, to learn to host more light. It is a great honor, and it's also a great responsibility, because there are certain criteria that you need to maintain continuously in order to stay there. Things like speaking the truth, right? If you don't, you're in some form of duality and you want to hide something. So it's about being completely open, but also open and truthful with what's happening. In harmony, the knower with the feeler, the masculine with the feminine, in constant balance. That's a day-by-day thing. It's not something that you do once and then you get a diploma and then you have it forevermore. It's not like that. Then you will fall very fast flat on your face. It is something that needs to be maintained. It is a muscle that needs to be built. It's like putting in the reps to make this go automatic, this way of operating as a human. And when you do that, regardless of what you choose to do with your life, this has nothing to do with what your life choices are. This is just, it's like putting a jet engine on whatever it is that is your project. That is what this will do for you, to practice this way. It's like putting a jet machine on whatever it is that you're doing. So if you're a writer, it would just go much better. If you're a painter, it would just, you know, like these grand manifestations, you want to go global, things like that. It's all about energy. How well are you handling your energy? Can you handle that? Can you handle that much publicity? You know, that's the responsibility comes in. You have to be able to handle it. Can you handle more energy? Are you ready for that? Or are you just saying that, but then when the energy starts to come, you're a little bit scared of it, actually. You know? I've been there. Yes, I've had to go through everything. And I still have ways to go. But boy, I'm so grateful for, first of all, this connection with Jesus. He's been helping me my entire life. I would like to share a little story with you. This is a personal story. When I was younger, about 18, I was a little bit of a rebel. I've always been a rebel. But I tried drugs. So I tried ecstasy, I tried acid, I tried speed. And speed was something that, methamphetamine, I think it's called now. That's something that was very addictive, very, very addictive. I didn't do this for long, but it was basically one particular where I didn't do it. So I stopped for some reason. And so what happened then is that my body started having so much withdrawals. Like I went into such a state with my body that I felt like I was being eaten from the inside out. I got the awareness. I didn't know that that was what the soul was and stuff like that. But I got the awareness that, aha, that stuff, that's the end of that. That will destroy your body. That's what I got. Because I was in bed for a week and just in agony, just in bed, pretending to be sick. Well, I was sick, but I was just pretending to have the flu or something, right? And that was such an experience. And in that experience, I prayed to Jesus and I said that, because I felt like I fucked up my body, like I fucked up somehow, because I also could feel like on the inside, of the pineal gland. I could feel these strands. There are some strands inside of that pineal gland that just broke. I could feel that break. And that was from that incident. And I just prayed and I said, if you help me out of this, I'll do anything you want. I'll devote my whole life to you. That's what I said. And that's what I've done. And I'm not religious, but I'm super acute to what my feelings mean, and I've always wanted to comprehend this reality. And so that brought me further into this path. And I just felt like sharing that, because that was my devotion to Jesus and this work, actually. And that was all the way when I was 18. So I didn't know what that meant. But I'm sure glad that I did. And I'm very grateful to have him support me in this way, and this bring this through to all of us, because this is not only for me to receive. That is part of my contract. It is so that I will share it with you. So I hope that this was inspiring for you, and I feel like that's what we wanted to share for now. And I feel like I want to go, my body wants to swim. There's also that. All right, take care, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Ciao.